Hey guys, hope everyone's doing well. Back with another DVD update. Have a pretty cool one for you guys today. I think you guys are going to enjoy this. All you horror fans out there, I'm sure you definitely know this film, Terror in the Aisles. It was released in the 80s. Basically, it contains a bunch of clips from, tons of famous horror movies from the 60s, 70s, and early 80s. Donald Pleasance and Nancy Allen are both in this. They narrate it. It takes place in a movie theater, and they basically just go through, the horror genre. And as I said, show some famous scenes from some terror movies, as they called them in the film at that time. The cool thing about this is, it wasn't released on DVD. It actually still hasn't been, but it is a special feature in the Halloween 2 Blu-ray. As you see right here, Terror in the Aisles. Actually released as a special feature, as I said. I'm not sure if that was their way of, being able to release it without having to get rights to all the film clips. I know that must be a pain to try to, acquire all the rights again to be able to release this movie on DVD, but maybe there's some loophole in if they released it as a special feature, which they have. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, I actually watched it recently. Hadn't seen it in years. So awesome. I really love all the clips in it. Some really cool scenes from some famous movies. It's fun kind of watching them and going through and seeing if you know what movie they came from. I actually watched it with my son, and we were yelling out the titles of the movies as we watched it. It was definitely pretty cool. Definitely a good time. The cool thing about this is, this I don't know how many. I would say around maybe 70 movies or so shown. There's actually two versions of the film as well. This, the original theatrical version, which is the one that's included on the Blu-ray, and there's also a TV version which had different movies added in because some of the gore scenes and the extreme scenes were cut out. So they added a few different movies that don't appear in the theatrical version. But as I said, the Blu-ray contains the theatrical version. Watching it, I realized, wow, I have a lot of these DVDs. So I also looked up a list of all the films to appear in Terror in the Aisles, both the TV version and the theatrical version. Got the list, went through my collection, and got all the DVDs, that I could find in my collection that, are on the list that appear in the movie. I don't own all of them, but not all of them have been released on DVD either. There are still a few that I haven't gotten yet that have been released, but I definitely own a huge chunk of them. So for this DVD update, I'm just going to show all the DVDs that I own of the films featured in Terror in the Aisles. Then you guys can comment below. Let me know what you guys think of this movie, Terror in the Aisles. Let me know what you think of the movies that I show. And also comment about some of your favorite scenes and stuff from it, because I really, really enjoy this. On other message boards that talk about this movie, all the threads seem to be, what movie is this? And it's just people looking for, answers to what film appeared in what scene. And, I really just want to get a discussion going about this because, like I said, I just really enjoy it. It's definitely something I grew up with. I remember seeing, this cover, not quite exactly the same, but, close enough, the skull with Terror in the Aisles below it and this writing. I used to see it in the old video store. I used to pick it up on a VHS, rent it quite often. So I used to just love seeing those famous clips. But I'm going to get into it now because there's a lot to get through. I'm showing these in no particular order. It's not how they appear in the film or anything, but as I said, these are just the movies that I own that appear in Terror in the Aisles. So first up, When a Stranger Calls. This actually is the first clip shown. It's shown quite a few times throughout the movie. Probably shown the most maybe out of anything. Maybe this and Halloween. But yep, that appears first. Now Dawn of the Dead, for some reason I don't remember seeing it in the theatrical version. It was in that list, so maybe it only appears in the television version. I could be wrong because, as I said, I've only watched it once and recently, and before that I hadn't seen it in years, so maybe I just missed the scene, but I believe Dawn of the Dead only appears in the TV cut. Next, Creature from the Black Lagoon. Then we have Cat People. This is the remake, starring Natasha Kinski. Then we have Carrie. There's quite a few scenes from Carrie in there as well. Next we have The Brood. I know a lot of people seem to ask about this. When I go on message boards and stuff and about Terror in the Aisles, a lot of people seem to ask, oh, what's that scene with the kids dressed in those weird suits going after the little girl? And, the answer is The Brood, but it seems like a lot of people are interested in that just from that scene, so it's pretty cool, I guess. We have The Bride of Frankenstein. Next we have The Birds. We have An American Werewolf in London. Shows the transformation scene, of course. Then we have Alone in the Dark. So there's a few different scenes from this as well. Then we have Alien, which I only own in the Alien quadrilogy box set, so I'm just going to show that. But yeah, they show the first film, some clips of that, of course, you know, the chest buster scene. So, and then Poltergeist. The clown scene is shown. Then we have Phantom of the Paradise. This is another one people seem to ask about on message boards. They show the clip of, you know, the Phantom with, attacking with the plunger in the shower scene. A lot of people seem to ask what that is because they're not sure if it's some type of spoof or, you know, if it's, you know, an actual serious horror movie. But it is from this Phantom of the Paradise, directed by Brian De Palma, and you know, it's funny. It's definitely you know, it's a comedy, horror, musical, you know, in a sense, kind of a bunch of different genres mixed into one. Then of course we have The Living Dead. How could you have a, you know, a horror clip movie without some clips from The Living Dead? Then Nighthawks, which really isn't a horror film, but it's considered one of the terror films, as they call them, in the movie. There's quite a few clips from this actually in there. Then Ms. 45, some good scenes from this movie that appear in Terror in the Isles. We have Marathon Man, quite a few clips from that as well. We have Jaws, of course. Jaws 2 also appears, but I don't own Jaws 2. Then The Shining. Quite a few scenes from this as well appear. The Omen. The Legacy. This is another one that appears only in the TV cut of the film. It does not appear in the theatrical version, so I'm not even sure which clips are contained in Terror in the Isles. We have The Howling. And The Fury. Includes the indoor carnival scene, which is pretty cool, with the you know, the ride going off the tracks and going through the window. Definitely a cool scene. And The Funhouse, again, only included in the TV cut of the film. And we have The Fog. You get to see the babysitter go out into the fog and, you know, get attacked, and that's it for her. We have An Invasion of the Body Snatchers. You know, quite a large segment on this in Terror in the Isles. Quite a few scenes are shown. We have Halloween 2, which of course had to be included because it would be kind of strange to have Terror in the Isles as a bonus feature on the Halloween 2 Blu-ray and not have any scenes from Halloween 2 in it, but they do appear, they're in there. And of course, the original Halloween. As I said, probably shown the most, you know, other than When a Stranger Calls. And Frogs, there's a quick scene from that. And Friday the 13th. And Friday the 13th Part 2, both appear. Then Dress to Kill is a pretty lengthy scene from there, which makes sense because Nancy Allen, as I said, is one of the narrators. Then Dracula. Interestingly enough, you know, the list didn't say that Frankenstein was included, yet Bride of Frankenstein I know was. And it's just funny that they chose to include, you know, Dracula, even the Wolfman's included, and Bride of Frankenstein, but no scenes from the original Frankenstein film. You know, according to the list that I found anyway, so I could be wrong, but If Frankenstein is included, I do own that as well. Then we have The Fly, the original 1958 version. And The Exorcist, of course, had to be included. Some pretty graphic scenes from that. I'm sure those were some of the scenes cut from the TV version. And Suspiria, great movie, one of my favorite horror films of all time. And Strangers on a Train. Actually, watching the documentary, or Terror in the Isles, it really got me in the mood to watch this. I actually watched this right after. And we have Brian De Palma's Sisters. Again, this is another one that I don't remember seeing in the theatrical cut, so I'm not sure if maybe there was a scene from this included in the TV cut, because this was on the list, but as I said, I don't recall seeing it on the Blu-ray. And we have Wait Until Dark. The Scanners. The head exploding scene, of course. The Videodrome, another Cronenberg film. And we have Saturday the 14th. The bathtub scene is included in Terror in the Isles. And The Wolfman, as I just mentioned a few moments ago. There's a comparison from The Wolfman and American Werewolf in London included. You know, it shows the transformation in the original Wolfman and how they did it, you know, with camera tricks and editing. And then they also show American Werewolf in London, the transformation scene, and, you know, how much technology has improved since the original. So that was a pretty cool segment, I think. Then we have The Thing. There's quite a bit from this shown in Terror in the Isles as well. Rosemary's Baby. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And finally, Psycho. Of course, this needed to be included. It's actually a very good segment as well with Alfred Hitchcock. You know, shows him talking, an interview with him about building suspense, and I really like that segment as well. So that's it. I mean, you know, I think it's, you know, comes out to be 47 or 48 titles, you know, that are in Terror in the Isles. So I think that's pretty cool. You know, out of all the movies featured, that I own this many, and that's without even going out and buying them after seeing Terror in the Isles. This is just what I have beforehand. So, you know, if I were to go out now, I'd probably, you know, I've always wanted to pick up Play Misty for Me with Clint Eastwood, which is also in Terror in the Isles. I'd like to get that. I'd like to get Vice Squad, the movie, which I know is out of print, hard to find. Also, The Seduction with Morgan Fairchild. I would love to get a copy of that. That, too, is very rare and hard to find. But that does appear in Terror in the Isles as well. You know, there's a few others, as I said. You know, Jaws 2, which I could easily own, but I just never picked it up. The Food of the Gods is another one I see quite often, just have never picked it up yet. So, as I said, you know, I think it's pretty cool to own this many without even trying. So, let me know what you guys think. Comment below. Definitely want to get a discussion going about Terror in the Isles. Really, really cool, as I said. If you guys haven't seen it, you definitely should check it out. Definitely awesome, as I said. Horror fans, you know, will definitely love this. This is great. I mean, some classic scenes are shown from, you know, some of your favorite horror movies. Even if it's horror movies you don't really like, they chose the best scenes from them. So, you know, I'm sure you'll still get some kind of satisfaction out of it. And as I said, you know, you can get it right here on the Halloween 2 Blu-ray special feature. You know, this cost me about, I think, $13.99 or so. You know, it's cheap. That's why I got two copies. I got this copy right here, and I got a second copy just so I can have the custom cover art for Terror in the Isles. So comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think, guys. Thanks a lot.